Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the official trailer that came out today at the time of recording this for the Crow movie, the Crow reboot 2024, however you want to label it. Really quickly, if you're unfamiliar, I've talked about this other places, but if you're unfamiliar, what my experience is with the Crow, I've never read the comic, but I have seen all 4 movies and the TV show. Obviously, the original Crow is one of my favorite movies ever. Amongst the sequels, because I like all the sequels. I know that I'm in the minority on that, but I do like all the other sequels. I'd probably say 4 is my favorite amongst the sequels. That's just a me thing, and I really was a big fan of the TV show as well. But looking at this trailer, first and foremost, I remember I think the director had said this, that apparently like he was going to focus more on Eric and Shelly's relationship in the movie, and I've heard some people having some concerns about that, like, oh, that means like, oh, it's going to be mainly that for most of the movie. And like, who knows what it's going to look like in the final cut of the movie, but just based on the trailer, it feels more like a no, like that, because it might be interspliced, like, hey, we get Eric and Shelly's relationship, and then throughout the movie we cut back and forth between present day and their relationship. That's kind of how I figured they were going to do it. That was what immediately came to my mind, but who knows? We won't know until we actually see the movie to really know how that's like divided up. But obviously it seems like, at least for me, it seems that this might dive more into the supernatural, like some of the movies and the TV shows. Like, because it's been a while since I've seen all the movies, but like obviously you're always going to have that supernatural element. That's the antithesis of it. But I want to say 2 and 4 and the TV show really leaned into the supernatural elements, because like everything else were just like regular people. Like, I mean, yeah, I think 1 and 3 just had regular villains. 2 and 4 had like someone, like 2 was like some guy stole the powers of the Crow to make it his own. And 4, there was like some devil worshipping weirdos, like played by, one of them was like David Boreanaz, and he played like a guy that was like, I want to say like possessed by the devil, I think is how that worked. I don't remember, but it just feels like the thing Shelly came across, I'm not sure if that was just some like weird thing that happened, like it's just a regular murder that she witnessed, or was it some kind of sacrificial thing? That's where I'm like, it feels like that might be on the more supernatural side of things. But also when Eric dies, like obviously we see the whole like him underwater and him trying to reach Shelly. There's a guy talking to him. I don't know if that's supposed to be like death or whatever, but this person seems to be kind of his guide, explaining everything to him about how the Crow, you know, help someone who has unfinished business. What I thought was interesting too is like the whole thing of, oh, you only have a limited amount of time. And because the entire TV show, I remember, was about like, hey, I'm doing everything I can to right as many wrongs so I can find my way back to Shelly. And it seems like maybe in this case it's going to be a thing of, if you don't get to her in time, she's going to be lost forever. Like maybe he has a time window where he can be with her, and it's like if he doesn't get to her soon enough, if he doesn't find his way to her soul, maybe her soul was stolen, maybe her soul is lost, if he doesn't get back to her in time, she'll be lost forever type of situation. I don't know, because I don't really think that was a thing of the original movie. Once again, I don't know if this is like doing its own thing, or is it pulling more from the comics in some capacity, leaning into the supernatural world and element of it, like that. Like I said, it seemed like he was in this like in-between space between life and death. I feel like I only really remember the TV show leaning into that type of element. I don't remember the original movie touching on that at all, but like I said, it's been a hot minute since I've seen the original, so I could be mistaken. But I think that's it. Just so I think leaning into the supernatural stuff is another way you can really separate yourself. I know also other people had their issues about the way Bill Skarsgård looks as Eric. I'm perfectly fine with it. Once again, it's you're going to take your liberties and kind of take a different approach to it. I like Brandon Lee's portrayal of the character is so iconic, and I also say the same thing about Mark DeCarcos. Like, I think he has a very distinct look as well, so I'm like, I get you want to just like do your own thing. Obviously it doesn't look like, because obviously both of their portrayals are more in line with what Eric looks like traditionally in the comic as well. But I know some people had an issue with it. It was just the still photos of it, but I'm perfectly fine with the aesthetic. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm getting into other elements of the trailer, obviously just being the traditional like love story and revenge story that the Crow is, and I don't know why, for whatever reason, a lot darker than I thought it was going to be, which it's stupid. And like it's a Crow movie, of course it's going to be dark. Like not just like aesthetically, but it's just like the tone and everything. And so like it just ended up being more brutal than I thought, because I'm also comparing it to like a 90s movie versus like present day, because like none of the other movies like were like as like, but like once again we were talking about like the last movie came out like what, it's been like 20 years since the fourth one came out, Wicked Prayer, and then it's been what 30 since the original. So obviously a lot of filmmaking and stuff like that will change, but it feels like obviously it's just meant to reflect like just the brutality of it. And I don't know, just I guess like obviously the older movies were actiony, but I think it's just because the action genre has kind of changed and adapted so much over these decades that it's going to be like leaning into, like I said, the brutality. I guess there was also talk about, and I guess you kind of see it reflected in the trailer, because I guess everything we saw with him having the full traditional, well not even traditional, but the full makeup and everything isn't until the end of the movie. So, because obviously, once again, depending on which version of the stories, like which movie and stuff like that, even the TV show, they made it it was a supernatural thing of every time like the makeup would form on him anytime he activated his powers. But most versions of it, 1, 2, and 4, it's makeup. So he's going to go most of the movie probably without it. I think it's not going to be to that final section that he puts it on. Maybe not. Another thing I completely forgot to talk about was the song choice they chose for the trailer, being Take What You Want by Post Malone, Ozzy Osbourne, and Travis Scott, which I mean, for one, I personally really like that song. So I was like, oh, that's a great choice, especially because it's like, I mean, it's like that dark popish rock type of song, because I think it leans into the dark pop of it all, but obviously it also has like a guitar solo and everything in it too. So it just, but I mean, that song just feels very befitting just for what the story is too. So I'm curious what it makes me really curious what for one, the score of the movie's going to be, but also just even what the soundtrack is going to be like to the movie too. It's going to be really interesting. Just from what we got in the trailer, I've been blabbing my mouth off about it, but I really enjoy what we saw. I'd love to get to know your thoughts. What did you think about the trailer? What is your experience with the Crow franchise, I guess you can kind of put it. What are your thoughts about Bill Skarsgård's look? Because once again, that photo was already out there like maybe past 2 weeks or whatever. So now that we have the context of the trailer and just what it looks like and the vibe of the movie, like, has your opinion changed potentially about this movie? Has it pretty much stayed the same? Are you pessimistic? Are you hopefully, cautiously optimistic is the word I'm looking for? Just let me know all your thoughts in the comments. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good